an innovative digital platform to enhance CPR training, accessibility, and effectiveness using gamification and interactive simulations. And first, I have to give special thanks to my instructor and Professor Tyler for helping me to make this all possible, as well as like helping me to revise certain aspects of the project. And I'm from St. Martin's High School, and I'm gonna present this one. So first of all, I want to address the current concerns as well as like the state of cardiac arrest. So approximately 350 to 450,000 Americans each year would die to sudden cardiac arrest. And from the pie chart to the right, we can see that sudden cardiac arrest actually addresses to actually 50%, which is one half of the total deaths in the country each year. So which would actually represent that it actually should be a more of a focus than some of our major illnesses, such as HIV as well as diabetes. And similarly, we can see from the graph on the left that we can see it's like if a a common person who is experiencing cardiac arrest would have a significant decrease in survival rates if especially when they're out of hospital, as well as if no one bystanding knows CPR. So over here, we can see that there's a need to address the public's lack of knowing for CPR, especially out of hospital in like these kind of scenarios, as that would dramatically help the survival rates of those individuals who are encountering uh, such hardships. Okay, so next, I want to address some concerns for the current state of CPR. So two major aspects it's like the major issue of it's like cardiopulmonary resuscitation is the time consuming to learn as well as the lack of public resources. As I am personally deeply passionate about uh, teaching as well as conducting CPR to those who might experience it or as well as it's like want to learn it. I found it deeply consuming to learn because from the numerous amount of classes as well as trainings I've taken, it usually takes about a day or two to actually fully learn and practice. It's like all the concepts one times through. And such process could be easily forgotten by many individuals if they haven't continuously taken classes or trainings, which is a majorly concern within the industry, as well as like many people, many people will actually forget or just bring the concept of CPR to the back of their mind. And secondly, I want to address the lack of public resources uh, as as many people who are instructors uh as well as teachers for like CPR. They're usually paramedics as well as doctors for years, and that would make CPR training is less available to the public unless people really want to emphasize on CPR, or if CPR is a required aspect of their current profession or career. Thus, it would make the general public being less accessible because it is not a skill that is required for every person within the society. Okay, so to approach this problem, I personally would use a virtual modeling of the realistic situations, such as depicted on the screen, such as using a code to demonstrate how well you're doing, such as such as illustrating the strings to perform the actions on the right. So for example, to show how fast the compression and also to illustrate what kind of action you want to do on the mannequin or the victim. And over here is just some aspects of the EMT trainer. We can see we offer a variety of options, such as you can just do hands-on compressions as a bystander, or you can also conduct, it's like you can also conduct breath to the victim using the ambu bag, such that it will allow air uh to be circulated around the entire body. And over here is another aspect, which is a very important aspect as well in CPR, which is to use an AED basically. So for an AED is very simple. It's basically you attach the pads. Then after that, you have to make sure that everyone is clear of the victim. Then after that, you can shock the victim. And the AED is a very effective as well. It's like a very innovative way to actually help those who are in cardiac arrest, as AD would offer the most amount of help to those who are experimenting who no who are experiencing certain cardiac arrest rhythms. Okay, so now we're gonna address the some of the major features. So overall, I created a very simplistic of the overview of the entire project. So basically, it follows a loop which allows users to choose between you can learn as well as conduct. So for those who haven't been able to get into such of a field, we will be able to learn it before we can do hands-on conducting. Uh, so over here we'll provide a wide variety of simulations for those who wants to know potentially different scenarios of what would happen in a CPR. And And it will also have a variety of instructions as well as feedbacks and rewards to promote such a learning. So on the left, we can also talk about the visual sections of the simulated environment, which can be offered to a more general public, such as a game. And and that's where the gamified concept really came to play, which could uh very much exhibit interest to those. It's like especially kids and teenagers these days to be engaged into the concept of CPR. And secondly, I think interactive elements that's would really paired with the gamified aspects of the whole entire project because the interactive elements would allow the whole training or the whole like gamified project experience to be much more entertaining. So people are more likely to retain the knowledge. Okay, so over here I have a short demo video. It'll first ask if the scene is safe, which is very important. If we click yes, it would allow us to, with all these options to help the victim. So we can either deploy Ambu bag, which we can control by clicking on the Ambu bag, this, or we can also check on the victim. It might tell us that the victim is unresponsive. Also deploy AED, can attach the pads to the area, and also we can shock the victim. Then lastly, we can also conduct CPR, which we can do by pressing the space key, and up here will tell us how fast we're pressing it. Okay. And also the victim is unresponsive, we can stop CPR. Okay, so from the short video, it's majorly demonstrating the aspects of compressing as well as the AD and as well as like the resuscitation for the victim, which are the three major branches and also aspects we need to address within CPR. So in order to test whether or not our uh, our gamified version of the CPR the actually allows the individual to learn the concepts. So we conduct an experiment, which from a 10 randomly selected participants, we randomly assign them to either groups of control or digital. Control means that they will receive no treatment. And from digital, which will mean they will use these CPR gamified uh, gamified project to in order to learn. And from a pretest score, we can see that the participants have a varying but overall a rather constant pretest score with a mean of 53. And then for those who use a post-test CPR test score, we can see that there's a significant increase, such that it increases about 20 to 30%, varying on individuals. And for the control group, we can see that there is also an improvement, but it's also showing that the improvement would be less effective than the post-test scores. Okay, and secondly, we conducted another experiment to based on all of the aspects that would be offered within the CPR training project. So again, from 10 different users, we will allow them to rank how useful, how engaging, how clearly content is, as well as like how confident they are to apply the skills in real life scenarios, as well as like an overall rating. So over here, the usability was majorly ranged from 8 to 10 with a potential outlier at 6. And also it's thus indicating that the project could be used and is very effective in addressing the CPR knowledge. And engagement may vary. So it varies from 5 to 10, depending on personal experience as well as how interested individuals are with the CPR and content clarity, which is basically how well content is manifested to individuals who wanted to learn. And we can see that a general high standard for those who perceive that the content is very clear, as well as oversatisfaction and confidence in applying skills. We can see that it's generally closer to 10, which is a good indicator of how the gamified experience of the CPR could allow individuals to learn the concepts of CPR, AED, as well as resuscitation mask could be rather effective. Okay, so now we want to compare the similarities as well as differences. So I want to address a few major industries as well as also projects that currently already existed. So as well as like first there'll be the in-person training, which is the very traditional route into learning about CPR. And as I've illustrated earlier in the beginning of the slides, we can see that it requires large amount of time and resources for individuals who wants to learn that way. And also there could be online learning. I've also participated in such form of learning, especially for my lifeguarding certification, which I would rather emphasize. It does give you the concepts that is needed. However, it lacks hands-on experience, which could be less engaging. And if you have no prior experience, it could result with you being not confident to applying these skills in real world scenarios, or potentially being lost in complicated scenarios with so many aspects going on. And three, we also talk about medical games. It's like within the gaming industry, there's already been medical games that have attracted millions of teenagers as well as children into playing. But however, the medical games majorly lacks the real knowledge, such that it's more focused on the game as well as like the loop of reward as well as the game playing aspects, which could not address the true concepts as well as like the real purpose of spreading CPR abroad. And my project of EMT trainers allows the users to gain access to not only accurate and explicit knowledge, but also it could be applied onto a mobile device. So in order to learn the concepts. And for future development, I would say to apply a various of situations such as drowning, you can have choking. So such situations allows the user to be more informed about what to do in various situations, such that the more you know, the less you'll be panicking at the moment. So secondly, we also want to incorporate an illustration of certain steps more explicitly, such as potentially guiding the player through the first few scenarios in order to let them know what a standard procedure would be. And three will be management and progress checking for the player, such that if the player has learned a concept previously, we do not want to keep continuing that process to make time less efficient, and also to allow the players to potentially contrast the progress from one to another. And number 4 and 5 are bug issues, which is execution debugging on the visual side, and potentially visualization of progress made by players, which could be contrasted between one another. Okay, and for the conclusion, I would say the EMT trainer offers a rather virtual model to make the concept overall more accessible to the others, as well as it allows accurate and also engaging information to be learned and conducted, as shown from the demo as well as the experiments that were conducted. There's an overall increase of the individuals' test scores, as well as their ranking of engagement based on how they experience for the CPR project. Okay, is there any questions, comments, and concerns regarding to the project? And below is my email, as well as if you really want to try it out, there's also an online version of the entire game, which you can access through the link below.